This is Mac OS Ken.
A look at tvOS 15, privacy and security at WWDC, and reactions from financial folk. It is Wednesday, the 9th of June, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by the Business Movers podcast from Wondery. Catch up now on Business Movers Season 5, The Enlightenment of Steve Jobs. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. When last we left, we had hit news of iOS 15, iPadOS 15, macOS Monterey, and watchOS 8. Let us move now to the somewhat less idiotic Idiot Box. Here, according to a piece from iMore, is everything you need to know about tvOS 15. Pared down, of course. According to the piece, users will be able to set up HomePod Mini as a default speaker or speakers for Apple TV 4K. tvOS 15 will support spatial audio, assuming the movies and TV shows do. The new operating system will support SharePlay and a feature called Shared With You. Living in the Apple TV Plus app, the piece says the Shared With You feature incorporates content shared by your favorite contacts through messages, email, and more. Siri gets sharper in tvOS 15 with a new ability to summon movies and shows on demand through the HomePod Mini, according to iMore. Users with more than one HomeKit camera will be able to view those cameras in a grid view, and HomeKit secure video-enabled cameras will be able to send activity alerts to the TV, just like HomeKit video doorbells have done since tvOS 14. As to whether it will run on your Apple TV, it will if you've bought it in the last 6 years or so. Hobby pucks from 2014 and earlier are boxed out. Apple TV HD and Apple TV 4K units can make the jump. As long as your Apple TV runs tvOS, iMore says you can run tvOS 15 on it. Developers are already rocking the first tvOS 15 beta, or can do anyway. Public betas will start rolling out in July, according to Apple. tvOS 15 is set to hit the public this fall. While it would be hard to say that the WWDC keynote was all about privacy and security were all over the announcements. The Next Web highlights some of those features, starting with iCloud Plus. If you heard Tuesdays in a few minutes, you heard Augustrometer talk about Private Relay in iCloud Plus. He likened that to a VPN, which Apple, for some reason, did not. According to the Next Web, Private Relay encrypts traffic between Safari and your DNS resolver when you look up websites. Apple will maintain its own server where it'll separate your IP from your request and send a new one to the DNS resolver, which will only reveal your region. That way, the piece says, your internet provider won't be able to know what sites you're visiting, and the DNS host can't know your exact location. That will be huge for users in China. Anyway, it would be if they could have it, which they can't. A piece from TechCrunch had Apple telling Reuters that a number of countries won't get the feature, including Belarus, China, Colombia, Egypt, Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Turkmenistan, Uganda, and the Philippines. You know, at one point during Monday's keynote, Apple referred to privacy as a fundamental human right. Statements like that are getting harder to square with doing business in countries that do not agree. The company's making mail more private. A new feature called Hide My Mail will let users create and delete as many proxy emails as they want under their account. A piece from Mac Rumors illustrates that a bit better, saying the Hide My Mail feature will provide users with access to unique, random iCloud email addresses that forward emails to their personal inbox anytime they wish to keep their personal email address private. The company is also doing what it can to prevent pixel tracking. According to the Next Web, a lot of advertisers hide trackers inside invisible pixels in emails, and they are hard to detect. To tackle that problem, Apple Mail will offer IP masking to prevent trackers from collecting data about you. This new feature, based on Safari's intelligent tracking prevention, will stop advertisers' ability to build your profile and send unwanted targeted campaigns to you. The piece from the Next Web says Apple didn't announce any controversial features like app tracking transparency, though that site may have wanted to wait 5 minutes. A piece from Apple Insider says people who publish newsletters are peeved. As explained by Apple in an ensuing WWDC session, says the report, emails can contain remote images that are used to collect analytics information. Remote images that are opened and fetched from third-party servers leave a data trail exposing when, where, and on what type of device an email was read. As noted by platformers Casey Newton, the piece continues, the data gleaned from image fetching and other strategies is vital for marketers, newsletter publishers, and other businesses based on an email distribution model. Email open rates offer insight into audience engagement and a campaign's overall effectiveness, information that, in some cases, translates into ad dollars. Mail privacy protection decimates that data set for Mail app users on iOS and Mac, according to Apple Insider. Have you ever given an app permission to access your microphone or your camera? Want to see if they're taking liberties? The Next Web says app privacy reports planned for iOS 15 will let users check what app requested to access their data and sensors and how many times in the last 7 days. Plus, it'll also display network activity by the app. This will help users observe if some app is using a part of their device more than necessary. A lot of Siri's light lifting is going to stay on device under this fall's updates. This is cool for a couple of reasons. First, Siri requests won't be sent to Apple servers, adding greater privacy protection. And second, you'll be able to do some Siri stuff offline. For tasks like switching on airplane mode, setting a timer, or opening an app, you won't need any internet connection, according to the report. Now, Apple's got a new feature called Secure Paste that I'm having trouble getting my head around. Basically, if you copy from one app and paste into another, the app you're pasting into won't see what you're pasting until you paste it. I'm kind of horrified that that has to be stated. At the same time, the banner that pops up at the top of the screen saying, hey, this app just copied from this other app, yeah, that won't pop up anymore. Okay. I'm having trouble getting my head around it. With Share Current Location, the piece from Mac Rumors says users can easily share their current location with an app just once without giving the developer further access after that session. Developers can customize the Share Current Location button and integrate it directly into their app. You know the indicator lights for an open microphone or camera in use on devices running iOS and iPadOS? Those are making their way to macOS Monterey. And this last one's not really a security thing exactly, though it does offer peace of mind. The Next Web says users can designate legacy contacts. That'll let select individuals access your information should you not be around to do so. Because you've died or something. Yeah, sometimes this show is really fun. Moving on from security, iOS is taking more significant steps to guard one's health, starting with steps, funny enough. Another piece from Mac Rumors outlines a walking steadiness metric coming to mobility tracking in the Health app. The Cupertino company will measure speed and evenness of gait to estimate risk of falls. Apple will leverage the data to generate a classification of your steadiness and how it changes over time, according to the report. Over time means measuring trends, another feature that is on the way. That feature will let users see long-term changes for metrics like steps, sleep, and so on. Well, users and the people with whom they share that information. According to Mac Rumors, there's also a new ability to share your health data with your physician in a secure way, allowing doctors to see health records and spot trends over time. This can also be shared with family members or a care team so that you can keep track of meaningful changes in your personal health metrics of everyone in your family. More news in a moment, but first a word from the Business Movers podcast from Wondery. I got to speak to a Mac users group last night, Cap Mac, out of Austin, Texas. I was talking about WWDC and how all-encompassing Apple's ecosystem is. It's so big, it's kind of hard to see it all. There were two Steve Jobs quotes that popped to mind. The thing about a computer being a bicycle for the mind, and the thing about skating to where the puck is. Jobs had a knack for seeing the big picture, that a computer-animated film like Toy Story could be the future of movies, or that a phone in your pocket could be so much more than a phone. While his Apple story is well known, it was his time outside of Apple that made him the guy who could save that company. Hear more about that time on The Enlightenment of Steve Jobs, Season 5 of the Business Movers podcast from Wondery. You may know the facts, but have you heard the story? Listen to Business Movers, The Enlightenment of Steve Jobs on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or you can listen 1 week early and ad-free by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app. Wondery. Feel the story. While we've been concentrating here on things that'll affect end users, there were announcements specifically for developers at the Developers Conference. The headline from Apple Insider says Xcode Cloud will let developers remotely build apps, improving collaboration and efficiency. Not only that, it'll also compile the apps on Apple servers, freeing up a developer's Mac to accomplish other tasks, according to the report. Expect a new wave of screen time apps. A piece from TechCrunch says the company is letting loose a screen time API, offering developer access to frameworks that will allow a parental control experience that also maintains user privacy. And finally, for the kid coder, or the kid coder in you, another piece from Apple Insider says Swift Playgrounds for iOS 15 will let users write and submit apps to the App Store right from the iPad. I know that barely touches on the announcements that were for developers specifically. I'm assuming that people who want to know more about those are actually following along with this year's event. Now, just because there was no new hardware doesn't mean financial folk weren't following along. Here is what a few had to say. Sounding like somebody trying to talk himself into being excited, Loop Ventures principal Gene Munster senses an innovation storm on the horizon. Philip Elmer DeWitt's Apple 3.0 ran part of a post he toasted. The part that sounds like he's trying to convince himself goes, some observers may view WWDC as evidence that innovation at Apple is waning. We disagree. The announcements Monday collectively add up to a tighter ecosystem, which means products that are easier to use. Besides, hardware usually comes later in the year, so, he does get to a place where it sounds like the excitement took hold. Mr. Munster went on to say, out of view today is Apple's intense ongoing development related to new product categories around augmented reality wearables and transportation. While the details and timing of these efforts remain a mystery, we believe it's a function of time that these product categories see the light of day. Today, Apple is stepping into a new growth curve thanks to the accelerating digital transformation, he continues. in the next 5 years, new addressable markets will be added to the growth story. Other reactions from analysts were gathered in another piece from Apple 3.0. Oppenheimer analyst Martin Yang called the keynote a relative letdown. One thing did turn him on, though. According to the analyst, Apple managed to shine brightly in audio-related features. Apple's unique integrated hardware and software design not only makes AirPods a Fortune 500-sized business, but also the centerpiece of a new generation of an audio-centric user interface. Yang's got an outperform rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $160. Piper Sandler analyst Harsh Kumar listed some standout announcements, including changes to FaceTime, live text, and pushing ultra-wideband beyond cars into homes, hotels, and offices. He also dug the privacy and healthcare moves. Kumar's got an overweight rating on Apple shares and a price target of $160. And finally today, Morgan Stanley analyst Katie Huberty focused on themes, including greater cross-platform integration of features, more intelligent personalization and customization options, new work and learn from home enablers, and a renewed focus on putting the consumer at the center of their health decisions. Apple's soup-to-nuts approach of software, hardware, and services, especially with new stuff coming this year, will let Apple post a third consecutive year of growth in fiscal year 2022 in her estimation. Huberty has an overweight rating on Apple shares and a price target of $161. Coming up in a few minutes, our week of WWDC reactions rolls on. Jeff Gamet joins us with his 2 cents, which are worth easily 3 to 5 cents. The show is called In a Few Minutes. Find it and listen wherever you find and listen to podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me, and sponsored by the Business Movers podcast from Wondery. Catch Business Movers Season 5, The Enlightenment of Steve Jobs, on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or listen a week early and ad-free through Wondery Plus in the Wondery app. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSCan. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macoscan.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.